By the end of this video, you will be able to explain box model, explain the properties associated with the border property, list the sub-properties of the border property. Until now, we have learned that an HTML code consists of various elements, and inside one element we can place any number of elements. In HTML, every element is considered to be a rectangular box inside which other boxes are present. Now the element which is considered to be a rectangular box is actually composed of these four internal boxes. Here, let's say we have this HTML element. Now, around this element, this is the first box which is for the actual content. This is the second box for padding space around the content. This is the third box for a border. And this is the fourth box for a margin around the border. Let's understand a few properties associated with borders. We will start with the border style property. This property is used to specify a style to the border of an element. The border style can be solid, dotted, dashed, or none. The default value of border style for any element is none. This means there is no border for any element. Now, to add a border to any HTML element, the syntax is simple. Here, we have used class selectors. This is something we have already discussed and used several times in the previous videos. So to specify the border style, we need to add the corresponding value of border style property like this. Like in this case, we want the border style to be solid, which we can see in the output also. Next is the border width property. It is used to specify width to the border of an element. The default value of this property is 3 pixels. Also, note that this property does not work for an element if the border style value is none. Now, let's see how we can change the border width of any element with the help of this code. Here, firstly we have defined the border style for the paragraph elements. Then for the first paragraph, we have not defined any border width, which means the browser will render the default value, that is 3 pixels. For the second paragraph, we have defined the value as 6 pixels. In the output, we can see that the border width of the second paragraph is thicker in comparison to the first paragraph. So this is how we can increase the border width of any element. Next is the border color property. It is used to specify a color to the border of an element. Similar to border width property, this property also does not work if the border style value of an element is none. The syntax is also similar to that of border width property. Here also, we need to first specify the border style of an element and then specify the property value like this. In this case, we have specified the border color as red. Instead of red, we can use RGB value or hexadecimal value also. In the output, we can see that the border color of the first paragraph is black, while for the second paragraph it is red. Now suppose we want to apply all these properties to a particular element. For that, we need to specify all the properties and their values one by one like this. What if I tell you that instead of writing multiple lines of code to define the border properties, we have a much simpler way? Well, wouldn't you like that? We all love shortcuts, right? For this, we have border property, in which all these three properties can be combined to one shorthand property. The syntax is simple. First, we will write the property name followed by the value of border style, border width, and border color by adding a space between them. There is no fixed order in which we have to define these properties. You can add the values in any order as per your preference. In case we don't define all the three values, then default values will be applied for those missing properties. For example, if we have not defined the border width value, then while rendering, the border width value, that is 3 pixels, will be applied. Now, this border property has 4 sub-properties, which helps us to add a border at a specific side of the element. You know, an element is considered as a rectangular box. A rectangular box has 4 sides: top, bottom, left, and right. So these sub-properties are border top, border bottom, border left, and border right. Let's see how we can use these sub-properties in this code. Here we have 4 paragraphs for which we have assigned unique class IDs. Now for the first paragraph element, we want to specify the border left property. So in the syntax, we will add the property name, that is border left, and will define the values corresponding to border style, border width, and border color in any order. Note that after the property name, a colon will follow, then a space, after which we will add the values. The values will have one space between them. Using the same way, let us specify the border subproperties for the second, third, and fourth paragraph. In the output, you can see that the first paragraph has a border only on the left side, the second paragraph has border only on the right side, the third paragraph has a border on both the top and the bottom sides, and the last paragraph has no border. So the border subproperties helps us to add a border to specific sides of an element. While using border properties, we can add a border to all the sides of an element at once. In the next video, we will learn padding and margin and their subproperties.